My stepmother tried to take everything my father left me. She didn't know he had recorded a message 6 months before he died. Dad married Veronica 3 years after Mom passed away. I was 22 and living on my own by then. I wanted him to be happy. I wanted him to have someone to share his life with. I didn't realize I was welcoming a predator into our family. Veronica was charming at first. She laughed at Dad's jokes and cooked his favorite meals. She asked about my life and sent birthday cards with thoughtful notes inside. I thought maybe I had misjudged her. Then Dad got sick. The cancer came fast and mean. 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. I drove 3 hours every weekend to sit with him, to hold his hand, to tell him stories that made him smile, even when the pain was bad. Veronica was always there, always watching, always asking questions about his accounts and his properties and his plans for after. I should have seen what she was doing. I was too focused on losing my father to notice his wife was already planning her inheritance. The day after the funeral, Veronica handed me a document. "Your father signed this last week," she said with a sympathetic smile. "It leaves everything to me. He wanted to make sure I was taken care of." My hands went numb as I read it. The house, the savings, the business Dad had built over 40 years, all of it going to a woman he had known for 3 years instead of the son he had raised for 25. "This isn't right," I said. My voice cracked. "Dad would never do this. He was very clear about his wishes." She tilted her head. "I know it's hard to accept, but he loved me. And sometimes love means making difficult choices." That's when I remembered the USB drive. Dad had given it to me during one of my visits, about 6 months before he passed. He was still strong then, still sharp. He pressed it into my palm and closed my fingers around it. "Don't look at this until I'm gone," he said quietly. "And don't tell Veronica. Promise me." I had forgotten about it in the chaos of his final months. It sat in my desk drawer, waiting. I drove home and plugged the drive into my laptop with shaking hands. Dad's face filled the screen. He was sitting in his office, the one with the bookshelves and the old leather chair. He looked tired, but determined. "If you're watching this, I'm gone, and Veronica is causing problems. I knew she would. I've known for about a year now what kind of person she really is." My heart was pounding against my ribs. I found out she was stealing from my accounts. Small amounts at first, then bigger. When I confronted her, she threatened to make my final months miserable if I told anyone. So I pretended not to know, but I prepared. Dad held up a document. "This is my real will. Signed, witnessed, and filed with my lawyer before Veronica could interfere. Everything goes to you, Marcus. The house, the business, all of it. Whatever document she shows you is forged. I had a handwriting expert examine her previous signatures. She's been practicing mine for months." He leaned closer to the camera. "The evidence is in my safety deposit box at First National. Key is taped to the back of Mom's portrait in the attic. Bank statements showing her theft. Copies of her practice forgeries. Everything you need." His eyes softened. "I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. I didn't want to burden you while I was sick, but I wasn't going to let her take what our family built. Not after everything your mother and I sacrificed." He smiled. The same smile I remembered from childhood. "Give her hell, son. I'll be watching." The screen went black. I found the key, exactly where Dad said. The safety deposit box had everything. Bank records showing systematic theft, pages of practice signatures that weren't quite right, a sworn affidavit from his doctor confirming Dad was mentally sharp until his final days. Veronica's forged will was thrown out in court. She was charged with fraud, theft, and elder abuse. The prosecutor said it was one of the most well-documented cases of inheritance fraud he had ever seen. She got 4 years in prison. I got my father's house, his business, and the knowledge that he had protected me even when he was dying. Mom's portrait hangs in my living room now. I look at it every morning, right next to the screenshot of Dad's face from that video. They always were the smartest people I knew.